Welcome, Thunderbird Nation, to the Thunderbird Coaches Show. Coach Delane Fitzgerald, Mr. Walker Harris.
Yes, sir.
Welcome, gentlemen, for another episode of the Coaches Show. Let's get right to the important announcements. We got, on behalf of the Thunderbird Nation, got to wish a happy birthday to our man, Delane Fitzgerald. We got you a birthday Mountain Dew. Life's good. You got another trip around the sun.
If that's the case, then I guess every Monday is my birthday then, right?
So it starts today, and then every time you come, your birthday present is one of those.
There we go.
So,
okay.
I was going to bring you a case of Mountain Dew, but I didn't get out of bed early enough. So I'll have to drop it off at your office.
Several of our fans had Mountain Dew for me after the game. Hey, big shout out to Sharon and Brian Brown. Miss Sharon and Brian, appreciate my birthday present on Saturday. That was great. It's great to see them. We miss them in Cedar City and looking forward to seeing them in the next couple of home games. Also, while we were there, got to see Betty and Jerry Jones. Always great to see Jerry and Betty, and really happy they were able to make a trip up to Pocatello to see the game also. Hey, big shout outs to them.
Awesome. Our game recap today is brought to you by Retro Fitness. Retro Fitness is on Instagram, Retro Fitness Cedar City. They got your full assortment of equipment, great classes, awesome instructors. It's the spot for full fitness solutions. So head over to Retro, get your pump on, get your fitness on. Go see Bev and Cox over there at Retro Fitness. Idaho State came into the game against SUU with a 1-2 record, coached by Cody Hawkins. Let's break down the Thunderbirds matchup against the Bengals. Let's talk about the first half, first drive. Kind of give us your insight.
John, we were flat. Came out of the locker room flat, started the game flat. Very much the way we did in the second half against UC Davis. We've got to fix that. But came out and fell behind early. We were down 7-0, and then we were down 14-0, and then we started to try to claw our way back into it. John, you have to give credit where credit is due. The Idaho State coaches and players had a better game plan going into that game, and they executed a game plan with a lot more energy than we did, and that's on me. So it's my job to get our players ready to play after halftime and before games. So we've got to fix that this week in order to be successful going forward. But I was impressed. Their game plan on Saturday, John, was to run the football on us. They've been throwing it around the yard. They came out and run it. If we would have stopped them from running it early, they would have started throwing it because that's their MO. They would have went back to who they were. Yeah. But we never really put up a roadblock, never gave any resistance, and they just continued to run the football to the tune of over 250 yards against our defense on Saturday. But we didn't execute play calls on defense, and then we didn't adjust. And the in-game adjustment falls on the head coach and the coaching staff. We didn't make an in-game adjustment to get them out of what they were doing, and it just needs to be better going forward.
Yeah.
Offensively, not terrible on Saturday, but not the expectation either. We still haven't broken out and played well. The bright spot is our run game, and our offensive linemen are blocking in the run well, and Targy Lamson is running the football well. After that, we have something to be desired, on offense. John,
still finding it.
Yeah, and I'm sitting here, and I've watched this thing 6 times.
I bet, yeah.
So I watched it. I rewound it on my phone, watched it on ESPN Plus on the way home on the bus, and it's sickening. But not terrible on offense, but we didn't do anything well outside of turn and hand it to Targy and watch him go.
Sure, which is really not a bad game plan. The guy's what is he, 3rd in the nation now in rushing. Man, our conference, the UAC, looks like the Central Arkansas, Tarleton State, and then Targy here at SUU, running the football well. Shout out Jamie Williams for those stats. But
a great stat by him. But the top 3 rushers in FCS football, Derek Powell at
Shenderick at UCA.
At UCA, and then the Britton, right? At last name Britton at Tarleton.
Big kid,
and he's a good player also. Yeah. And then Targy's having a standout senior season. Yeah. So we're happy about that, John.
Sure, there's some bright spots, right?
And thanks, Jamie, for the stat. But we've got to do some things better on offense. Just got to get it going. Got to get it going. Jon Smith in this world, nothing. was ever accomplished. Nothing great was ever accomplished without energy and enthusiasm, and we've got to have energy and enthusiasm for what we're doing.
Yeah. Some bright spots. I mean, there was obviously some situations we found ourselves in. We gave up some big plays, a 75-yard run touchdown. You talked about not being able to, or not adjusting the defense to what they were showing us. But let's talk a little bit about the bright spots. Shane Carr, freshman, had 107 yards, I think, and a touchdown receiving.
Shane had his first good game.
Yeah.
Many more to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can see that he's, like you said, he's got the energy and the effort that's hopefully going to catch up with that game speed that jump from high school to college. Also,
John, we won on special teams. I don't know what your also was.
Go ahead.
We won on special teams for the first time this year.
Yeah.
And Jordan Jefferson with the kickoff returns did a nice job. Gabe Nunez punt returns did a nice job. Jaden Rogers hit all 4 of his kicks on Saturday, which is the first time this year we've hit all of our kicks. But we were not great on special teams, but we were better. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, excuse me. We're still finding our identity behind center, quarterbacks. I'm sure that'll get ironed out as the season progresses. But Bronson Barron came in with 4.5 minutes in the game and threw for, 85, 90 yards and a score. So it's nice to see that. Jackson Berry also did a great job. I think he had 170 yards. And just we're finding that identity. Hopefully that'll come soon.
Both of them were solid on Saturday.
But
both of them did a solid job at the quarterback position.
Absolutely. And so, man, I don't really have any other notes, Coach. What do you have? What are the lessons? You said you watched the tape 6 or 7 times now. We all know that losses are just learning experiences.
Yeah, congratulations to Idaho State and their coaching staff and players. They outplayed us for 3 hours and deserved to win. We didn't deserve to win on Saturday. Point blank, end of discussion. You talk about the learning points here. You can't take people lightly, which we had some guys take them lightly. Mm-hmm. And then you have to have energy and enthusiasm for what you're doing. At this level, John, you can tell by the scores across the country that there's a number 4 team in the country gets taken to the wire by a 500 football team, and it just goes on and on where people are having to win games late. The top 10 teams in the country are having to play really hard in the fourth quarter to be successful. It's even. Yeah. It's even across the board, and if you're going to be successful in FCS football, you got to bring it every Saturday.
Yeah,
there's the lesson. You don't take people lightly. You bring it on Saturday.
Yeah, and look, there's only 12 times to do this during the season, right? You practice, you've done all this work.
Ever heard that before?
What was that?
That you only have 12 opportunities?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times.
Yeah, that's it. Like, you got 12 times, every single one. It's not like a Major League Baseball where they play 136-odd games.
162.
Whatever it is, it's
You're
too many.
You're a baseball fanatic.
Yeah, oh, no, definitely not. They need to shorten the season to like 50 games, and then I think I'd be a fan.
162.
That's crazy. But every game means so much more, right? 10 times more, or 12 times more than baseball. Anyway, let's not trash baseball. Baseball's great. But Walker, from a player's perspective, you're out on the field there in Holt Arena. Just kind of tell us what you saw and what were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, I mean, this one stung. I mean, we came out there and we came flat on defense, and, we shouldn't have. We have 12 opportunities in a year to, play football, and the other, 95% of the time, you're doing something that isn't football.
And it's kind of tough stuff that maybe you might not love, right? You love football,
right? But,
man, that running and that lifting and the eating and the study, like that's all preparation to do the thing you love, and when the time comes to do the thing you love, man, you got to grab it with both hands. So anyway, good lesson learned. Hopefully we don't fall flat for the rest of the season and realize that we got those opportunities and we need to take them and grab them with both hands. So I say we move on. Coach, you got any more thoughts?
I'm happy to move on.
I bet you are. All right. This is my favorite part of the show, and it is the Visit Cedar City and Bryan Head Student Spotlight. Man, welcome, Walker Harris. Appreciate you coming to the show. Tough loss this week, but onward and upward. Let's get a little bit of lay of the land. Tell us where you're from and tell us a little bit about your journey in college football and how you ended up here at Southern Utah University.
So I'm originally from a little town called Summerfield, North Carolina, and it's about an hour north of Greensboro. Went to Northern Guilford High School, most famously known for Keenan Allen. He's an alumni there.
Yeah,
so
there you
pretty
go.
Cool, pretty cool.
Yeah,
and
soon to be known for Walker Harris. Hey,
Lord willing. But went to Jacksonville State out of high school. Then I went to the University of Sioux Falls, and then I ended up here at Southern Utah University.
Had a little journey.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and you've been here for a couple years now. This is your first year getting on the field for us. What's it like playing for Coach Delane Fitzgerald?
I love it. It feels like home.
No delay. That was honest.
Feels like home.
He's gonna make a great politician.
Running for mayor down there.
Hold office
Yeah, I love it. You've been in school for a little while. You've got a degree in general studies.
Mm-hmm.
We were kind of talking before. What are you working on right now scholastically?
I'm working on my MBA right now.
Awesome.
Yes, sir.
Master's in business administration.
Yes, sir.
What do you plan on once the pads and the cleats are hung up? What do you want to use those degrees for? What do you see yourself kind of doing in the future?
Well, I come from a big military family.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could see myself doing anything other than that once the cleats are hung up.
I got you. Well, I'm a Navy brat. My dad was a Navy for 20 some odd years.
Good deal.
And grew up on bases all across the country. Well, mostly Monterey Bay, but my dad had a pretty easy tour of duty after. Let's see, three tilts in Vietnam. After that, they put him to pasture. He earned a good tour of duty after that. Yeah, absolutely. So, what branch of the military is your family?
They were all Army.
Army. All right. Well, shout out all those military.
That's the best thing about this show. I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no idea. All I do is see the hair halfway down his back.
Hey,
and
he's got nice flow, Coach.
He's got the locks going.
Yeah.
I don't see military when I look at him, but now I know. Now I got it.
Yeah. Maybe special ops. They let their hair go. So
do they?
Yeah. Oh yeah. You can look however you want in the special ops. Walker, your roommate Danny King kind of leaked some info on you to me. Yeah.
What'd he say?
He said you were one of the cleanest, most organized roommates he's ever had. There's discipline in the way you run your household. You don't want no nonsense. You go to bed at the right time. You wake up at the right time. Is that all true?
Discipline determines your destiny, not your desire.
Coach, this is
I'm enlightened.
gold. Yeah.
Good.
No, that's a great quote, and it's a quote that you live, right? It's not
Yes,
just
sir.
something you pull out of the top of your head.
That's right.
Other than you, maybe Danny might be the next discipline. He's like, John, you can come to our house, you could eat off the floor. Like we're clean. We do the thing.
Yeah.
So maybe they need a roommate to mix it up a little bit and see if we can have some life lessons brought up on some of the freshmen. But man, that's incredible. So you've been here in Cedar City now for a couple years. Let's talk a little bit about Cedar City and how you call it home, and what do you like to do now that you're a couple years in? What are some things that you like about Cedar City?
I love the people, first off. I mean, it is just quality people here, you know. And as for what I like to do, I mean, that doesn't revolve around food. Probably the hunting and fishing around here.
Hey,
It's real fun. It's real fun.
So hunting and fishing.
Have you been with Steve Akins yet?
Oh, yeah, plenty of times.
Have you?
Plenty of times.
Steve gets.
We got to
after
get
it.
Steve on the show. I hadn't
I
thought
would
about
love to.
Steve.
Yeah, I would love to interview Steve. He
character.
sounds like a good time.
Character's right. Steve show up to a recruiting. Steve will show up to host a recruit with his waders on, mud up to his knees. I
Duck
said,
call hanging around
I
his
said,
throat.
Steve. He said I had a couple hours. He said, so I wanted to stretch a line. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve wanted you to take those couple hours and get a shower and put on clean clothes, but no.
He's like, nah. More important, pressing matters.
But here's what matters. I think he might be undefeated hosting.
Oh, there you go.
He may have signed them all.
Wow.
So
Wow.
you're saying fishing with Steve's a good time?
Hunting with Steve is a good time.
What do y'all hunt around here?
Well, we're going today. We're going to get some grouse and some dove, hopefully.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
Should be fun.
Look,
But every time with Steve, it's
can't
always
see-
an adventure.
I can't see. I was gonna say, no, I'll pass.
Yeah.
I've got kids to feed, and I can't imagine Steve being quiet.
No, we've gotten stuck in the 4-wheeler.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've gotten stuck.
Well, visit Cedar City. Brian had probably loved the fact that instead of some restaurants and things, we got a shout out to nature. Mm-hmm. We got a shout out to the hunting and the fishing around here is superb. So that's great that you're out enjoying Cedar City.
For everyone out there, Steve Akins is our right tackle. So California native, and during the recruiting process, one of the reasons we signed him is because him and his father really enjoyed hunting and fishing in this area.
Yeah, and do they have like some ties to the Beaver, Utah area? Am I remembering that correctly? Yeah.
They used to come up here and elk hunt back in the day.
That's it.
In this unit.
Yeah, they used to come up in this unit and enjoy the bounties of the earth. Look, you're having a good season thus far. You're leading the team. Well, you're tied with a bunch of TFLs. You got 3 sacks. You're causing an impact on the opposing team. What about our scheme? What about our defense do you like, and how do you fit in that as your 111th there?
I love in our defense how everybody gets love. It's never just one person that's making all the tackles, Everybody kind of gets love in this defense, and I feel like that's how it should be.
So everybody can eat a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I like that. Man, what about opposition and hardship? You're a military guy. You play football, so there's a lot of correlations. But we're coming off, like you said, the loss stings. What are the lessons that you're going to take from that, and how do you use that as fuel for the next game to be better? Maybe not feel as much of that sting.
Yeah, I mean, I think the best thing we can do right now is just kind of take the coaching and practice harder, that type of deal. I mean, we don't want to feel like this again, so we just got to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I like what you said. Take the coaching. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's difficult to trust. Sometimes it's difficult to listen and really understand. So maybe open those ears, open that heart a little bit.
That's right.
Come together with those coaches and get to be a unit of one. Thanks for that, man. That's Walker Harris, folks. We got great individuals on our football team. It's great to have you here, and thanks for the input there. We need to preview Austin Peay, Coach. This week's preview of Austin Peay is brought to you by Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen. That just rolls off the tongue for me now. It's just, something I dream about. Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen.
Dream about those wings and fries.
Just the tasty snacks and the cold beverages over there at the Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen. If you're in Cedar City and you're looking for a nice little watering hole, Warehouse Bar Plus Kitchen. Great food, great beverages. Austin Peay. We got a new coach over at Austin Peay, Jeff Ferris. What do you know about Jeff, and what kind of style is he bringing to the Governors of Austin Peay?
Yeah, I got to meet Jeff at the media days this summer for the first time. Our paths haven't crossed until this week, but Jeff's a longtime Duke guy and played at Duke and then stayed there on staff for a long time. And I'm assuming, he was with Cutcliffe, and then it went into whoever followed Cutcliffe there. And you got to forgive me for not knowing. But if you played for David Cutcliffe and worked with David Cutcliffe, you're a good person.
Yeah. And
you're probably really knowledgeable about football too. That's Eli Manning. It's Peyton Manning's position coach, Eli Manning's head coach.
Wow.
But anyway, great football mind. But Jeff got the job this past off season. The previous head coach had rated the roster for a lot of players. I know they had a lot of players left. I thought Jeff and his staff did a really good job of recruiting good football players and good athletes to replace them. And John, the best thing I can say about Jeff and what his staff has done is they've gotten better each week this year.
Yeah.
That didn't look great against Louisville, and then each week they've gotten better and better and better. And I'm sure they're really optimistic. They beat up on Alabama A&M pretty good last weekend, and I'm sure they're feeling pretty good about themselves, and as well they should going into this week.
Yeah, we're both 1-3. We're both hungry for that second win. What kind of offense does Austin Peay, now that we've got a different head coach there, a new coaching staff? I know they got a bunch of transfer players in from the FCS and FBS levels. But what do they show on offense?
They're multiple spread, just like everybody else in the country right now.
Yeah.
Inside, outside zone. They really got counter going last week, which anything gap scheme I like to sit and watch. But the running backs ran really, really hard. That they got a quarterback making good decisions right now, and then they're playing hard up front, playing harder and better up front than they have all season.
And then flip it over on defense.
Sure.
What scheme do they play? What do they like to do?
That's a question of the year now. Everything.
Oh,
everything.
Haven't quite found a solid identity yet, or do they just is their identity?
Got a young defensive coordinator with a little history at James Madison, and Mike Houston guy. But no, they have their identity, and they're executing all of his calls. That they have a lot of calls, throw a lot at you during this season. I smile when I get to watch film and smile because you kind of go into the head of the other people.
Exactly.
There's been a couple teams this year that just said, "Hey, forget it. We're just going to zone you up. You're doing so much stuff and confusing us so much. We're just going to zone you up and run zone at you." And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah. Man, excuse me. Who are some players to watch? I mean, I know they've got I wouldn't say a brand new roster. There's guys that stuck it out and stayed there at is it Clarksville?
Yeah, I fall short on this show because I know the kid. I know the jersey numbers.
That's fine. You can tell
and where
me
they're
numbers.
from and that type stuff. But the two running backs, rushed for 250 yards on 15 carries on Saturday. And the one kid had, and I'm gonna get it wrong, but he had 8 carries for 154, and the next kid had 7 carries for 106.
Wow.
So those two kids at the tailback position are special. I think the quarterback's playing well for them. And then they've got 2 receivers that they got the ex-receivers doing a nice job for them. And then the one I do know is Roman Copeland, and tried to recruit him out of high school to Frostburg when we were there, and he decided to go to Hampton, had a good career at Hampton, and now he's having a good season at Austin Peay. If my stats are right, he's their second leading receiver in yards, but then he is their leader on special teams. He's returned 2 punts for touchdowns, does a nice job for them on special teams, but a good player. The outside backer for last year for them, number 10, who stayed behind, and seems to have a little chip on his shoulder. He's gonna show that staff that left him,
right?
That he was capable of going, but is playing really, really well. John, that they are good up front. Their linebackers play really, really hard, and then they're talented in the back end at the DB position. They don't have a lot of weaknesses on defense.
Okay. So, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. They got some players, obviously, that can do their thing. What are some keys, without giving up, obviously, anything you don't want to give up? What are keys that we need to do to win the football game on Saturday?
We need to score one more point than they do from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Yeah.
Come hell or high water.
Yeah.
1 point, one more point.
That's all it takes.
Yeah, if it's 11 to 10, or if it's 51 to 50, just one more.
What would you like to see better executed from the Thunderbirds?
I'm not going to tell you.
No.
Anything.
I mean, I'm just talking about general. Obviously, we're not going to talk about any scheme or anything like that. But generally, you talked about energy and effort.
Yeah.
What are some things?
We gotta be excited to play football.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to be excited to play football, and both we've all talked about it here. It's 12 opportunities to play each fall, and we need to be really excited about that.
Sure.
Need to handle the trip better. Need to handle the trip better than we handled last week's trip, and that needs to happen. But come out with some energy and enthusiasm. Be excited to play football.
Yeah.
The exact same thing their coaches are telling their players.
Sure.
The atmosphere will be good there. We're playing in Clarksville, Tennessee, and Clarksville's got 175,000 people, and it's, for lack of a better term, it's a suburb of Nashville.
Okay.
So there'll be plenty of people in the stadium. They'll be excited to play. We need to match their excitement to play.
Yeah.
Hey, on offense, let's execute the call.
Sure.
Let's execute the call on offense. On defense, let's execute the call, and let's run to the football and tackle this weekend.
Yeah. Walker, there's probably nothing better.
John, it's also okay if we win on teams again. It'd be okay to win on teams 2 weeks in a row.
Hey, if we win all 3 phases, I think we got a good shot.
Hey, we would be at least 1 point ahead of them if we win all 3 phases.
Yeah, that's the key. Walker, there's probably nothing like you've got this crowd and they're going, and you go in and take their quarterback and put them on the ground. There's nothing like making a home field quiet, right? What are some things that you need to execute to make that home crowd quiet?
We got to get to the quarterback. Simple as that.
Yeah.
I mean, quarterbacks don't like you in their face,
Yeah.
They don't. So
Yeah. It also gives the guys behind you,
that's right.
yeah, some better opportunities, right?
That's right.
When the quarterback is feeling rushed and anxious, make a few mistakes, or maybe they don't have time to get the route, and they'll throw some balls. Hopefully our guys, we've had some decent interceptions. I think we've got 4 or 5 on the year so far. Yeah, and obviously the sacks and the TFLs are coming. So looking forward, ladies and gentlemen.
John,
to Austin Peay.
quarterbacks for everybody out there.
Okay.
A quarterback on Monday, his vision is here.
Yeah.
And then on Saturday, when they start to get hit, their vision goes. It comes in. Their vision gets rid. Every time you put your hands, every time you put a hit on a quarterback, his vision gets narrower and narrower and narrower. That's a hard word for me to say.
Narrower. Yeah, no, that's well executed.
Yeah, but their vision gets narrow, and that's why you have to get pressure on them.
Yeah.
You have to hit them, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether you're Tom Brady or whether you're a good quarterback like Tom Brady or a bad one like Delane Fitzgerald. It gets narrow.
Well, and I love that perspective. The front end and the back end work together. They make each other look good when they're you've got coverage sacks and you've got pressure sacks. Yep. They can help you. You can help them. And I like that. The working together.
Shout out to LPJ.
Hey, LPJ.
He did it to me last week, so
that's
I had to
right.
get him back.
That's right. No, he and LPJ's playing really well, well this season. I like his growth and his maturity. I think I've noticed. So shout out LPJ. All right. Speaking of shout outs, Coach Walker, you guys have anybody you guys want to shout out to end the show?
Yeah. Shout out my folks, my mom, dad, brother.
Names?
Kelly and David.
All right.
And, yeah, everyone who just got me here today.
Awesome.
Oh.
Coach?
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir.
It's a joke. It's a joke. Hey, pleasure to coach you. So, hey, shout out to everyone that came to Pocatello and watched that mess on Saturday, and the Levitts for flying up, and Brian Wood and Jon Smith and everybody for flying up. Huge shout out to our marching band. And I said David Francis, is that right?
Yeah, you stole my shout out again, but that's okay.
The leader. Hey, great minds think alike.
Yeah, that's right.
Bad ones think alike too. David coming up with a band. One of these days we need to get the band roster and just go through and name them all. Maybe we'll just do last names so it's fast.
That would be cool.
But to name it, they started the marching band the year we got here, and I'm going to get this wrong, but they went 65 marching band members, and then last year it was 85 marching band members, and now we're at 125. He is slowly but surely building a great marching band. They are cool.
We definitely won the battle of the bands on Saturday, by the way.
No doubt ours is better than theirs. But thank you everyone for coming to Pocatello and sitting through that mess.
Yeah. My shout out, I got to shout out Doug Newth, our athletic director. Great hospitality. He hooked us up with some passes and got us in there, and he's always really great to work with us and our guys. Man, and also I was going to shout out the marching band. They went up. They played at Ogden High School on the way up. They're spreading the word of T-Bird Nation all the way up I-15, hitting the high schools. I think the people of Pocatello were excited to see a band in there that could really go. I don't want to make this about the band, but they really did a remarkable job on that trip. And then my beautiful wife Shannon for letting me go to football games and take the time to hang out with this character. She's a great woman. Thanks, Shannon. Look.
She is a good one.
She really is.
Here's what she hadn't told you.
Uh-oh.
She is so thankful for the game of golf and the game of football.
Yeah, because it gets me away from her so she can have some time with her plants and her dogs just to think.
The dogs are cool. What are the dogs' names?
So I don't want to talk about my dogs.
Hey, looks like a lap dog.
Yeah, no, they are. So Rocket and Draco are my dogs.
Shout out to Rocket and Draco.
Yeah, okay. We really lost this thing. We can edit all this out. But look, for Coach Delane Fitzgerald, for our defensive end Walker Harris, I'm Jon Smith signing off. Go Thunderbirds.
Go T-Birds.